This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It is one day after Super Bowl Sunday. I am very pleased today to be able to have one of our most important, as far as I'm concerned, um, team members. When we brought Stacy Pearson on to our team, it really has changed the entire game with respects to monetizing relationships, making the process be so much more seamless. So I want to go ahead and just make sure that Stacy is here and that everybody can hear her. Okay, Stacy can hear us.
Hi, I can hear you just fine, Carter.
All right, awesome, fantastic. Well, hey, let's just jump on into this. I'm going to do a quick little run through overview of what it is that we're trying to accomplish here and what's been super successful with what we call the 7 steps to the magic. And then we're going to end this with Stacy's very key part within this process. So as you can see here, we've got our entire team. Stacy Pearson there on the bottom right, Director of Philanthropic Business Development, as well as the Estate Business Manager, Estate Plan Business Manager, as she has not only been working with all of our advisors on training them with respects on how to be able to navigate a lot of the stuff, but her key role that she really is playing now is when she does the client training, of which we are going to get into in just a little bit. But I just want to kind of sort of do a quick little overview here. Again, the vast majority of our advisors, especially as we continue down this path of combining what we call stranger marketing and cause-related marketing with our educational fundraising platform and workshops, this is where someone's come to an event. Step one, initial client visit. They come in. Said advisor will walk them through all the data entry. There's really very little that they need to know about this. Stacy gives training on this herself. It's very quick, very simple. We've got our entire team that will help to formulate and facilitate all of this. Next step that the client is going to be taken through from the advisor's perspective, you're going to make these 4 appointments. Stacy, we make it really easy for the advisors to make these 4 appointments as well. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is geared for ease here.
Yeah, and so we've got these interactive PDFs. Everybody's got a calendar. We hop on that calendar. We're there with the client. It's literally, I mean, this process, if it takes you longer than 5 minutes to get these 4 appointments done, you're probably doing it wrong. So anyway, so then we have step 2. Don Dacey's going to do the specific trust directives. Here's all of his stuff. Here's a few things as a reminder again on what needs to be understood from the advisor's perspective to help make this process a little bit more seamless. And then you've got your checklist here of everything you're going to need to do. And then here we are, Stacy. Step 3, the client training. And I realized, going back 6 months prior to us adding and formulating this entire 7 steps of the magic, this was the most important part that I realized was missing from those steps. Because as everybody is learning this process, it's a digital transformation world that we're living in. And because we're talking about, technology or the cloud or these, secured client login, that apparatus, but being able to know how to navigate and take ownership of what it is that these clients now possess with the ease and the access 24/7, 365. It really is, I think, when we added you doing this part, Stacy, it's the part that you have helped those trust clients, if you will, take ownership in what it is that we've done. And they now realize, now I'll just hand it off to you at this part, but share with us how they really realize on the accessibility and just how awesome it is for any types of changes and modifications along the way.
Sure. One of the things that I'm always cognizant of is that this product really is an intangible product. And we want to make this tangible so that your clients can touch it and feel it and see it. Because when they do that, they are more apt to be able to refer to their friends and their relatives, and also to justify to their friends and relatives what it is that they have purchased and how easy it is for someone else to go through the same process. So we're kind of taking it into a different realm for them during this time. And I've developed this program based on having worked with clients in the past as an insurance agent and writing products for clients, and realizing that in the office, depending on how your office is structured, whether you're working for yourself or for others, there oftentimes is not built into your sales cycle, let's call it, with your client, an opportunity to fully train them. And I feel like this is a missing step that a lot of companies overlook. They don't realize how important it is. And so by taking that off of our advisors, we then can keep our advisors in new sales cycles and new client acquisition, and we do the training here for them. So that, I think, is something unique that we do. They don't have to stop and take time for client training because we're doing it. And coming from a sales background as well, I'm always thinking about how I can assist the advisor in the sales arena. Not that we're here just for sales, but we're problem solving for the clients. And typically we problem solve through a product solution. And I'm all the time working in ways that I can introduce those solutions to our clients in training. One of the reasons why I do it that way is because during education, the brain, when the brain is learning, the skeptical side of the brain is not turned on. And it's an opportunity for me to introduce solutions and say, if you don't have this, go back to your advisor and make a note to talk to them about this. Tell them you're interested in that because this is a great thing that you could add on. And they're very receptive during the training and education part with me to accept a new solution.
Yeah, Stacy, let me just touch on that just a little bit. The part of the brain functioning differently while being trained is really been some of the secret to the success of and you mentioned it earlier. You said referrals, and that's what a lot of people think about referrals. And now we discourage the word referral because there's nothing there. The difference between a referral and an introduction couldn't be more different, even though most people think they're one and the same. But to that point, and we can talk more deeply about that, whenever we work with our advisors through the business refinement program. But the thing that you touched on about referrals or introductions is that they are so much more open and, I guess, susceptible to suggestions while you're given the training. And we've already seen this successful with not only product solutions when we send them back on this conveyor belt process we've got back to the advisor, but also through the introductions that are happening because you're sending them through this educational training process. For example, when you go through the postscript page, and again, the reason why this is so much more than just a trust, right, is because we had to do the client training because it's the portfolio part of the estate plan that is necessary. And I believe when you're talking earlier about the intangible, tangible aspect of what it is that these clients are actually owning, but we send them through this because it's necessary, because it's so much more than just about the estate planning part. It's the all-encompassing, all in one place. in a secured client login aspect, where this PostScript page is really where you've seen a lot of the success talking about some of these other product solutions. Is that fair, Stacy?
Yes, absolutely. And, we talk to our clients about the large percentage of people who purchased a traditional trust elsewhere. Sadly, statistically, a lot of those are not up to date at the time that it's necessary to settle an estate. And so a lot of those assets are going through probate. And we want to make sure that our clients aren't caught there, so their stuff is up to date. So the client sees that the need to go in here and learn this is important for their success. And that's why they're eager to learn.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, the other part about this, and I've been saying this for quite some time now. I sort of had this epiphany as I've gone through this, this research and discovery process with respects to estate planning. It's interesting. You talked about the traditional way of estate planning and trust and things of that nature, but it just absolutely amazes me about, it's not what they teach you about estate planning whenever clients are engaging services. It's what they don't tell you, right? And a couple of examples is that, we've touched on already, estate settlements, updating your documents, funding. We've addressed all of those things, but it really is, and Stacy, I'm sure you'll agree with me, it really is a matter of, traditionally speaking, what they don't tell you about estate planning more so than what they do tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They don't tell you that if you acquire a new asset, it needs to be updated. They don't tell you the price it's going to cost for you to go back to the attorney's office and have that update made. I have spoken with people who have traditional trusts and wanted to make a slight change because life changes, and it didn't get done because they couldn't afford the $450 to go back and have a small change. All of our changes are available 24/7, 365 through a membership that's $5.75 a month. So there's no reason why our clients would not continue to access their client console, take advantage of the many things that are available in their client consoles and their trust portfolios. So they're having fun with it once they understand what it is. And the oldest couple that I've taught on the system was 84 years old. They had two children with disabilities, adult children that they were still taking care of full time, and they learned how to navigate the system. I make it very, very easy for people to be successful.
Well, that's again, that just goes back to the misperception of how older age clients are not technologically savvy, as if, right? All this technology is passing them by, and somehow they haven't been able to acclimate to it. It's in digital transformation is everywhere in everybody's lives. It's really hard to not be part of it. And I tell the story all the time about my grandmother, 88 years old, who lives in a little city called Hackberry, Arizona, population 112. and it's out in the middle of nowhere. Literally, when you go there for Christmas time, you have no cell service. That's how out in the middle of nowhere it is. But guess what she does? She communicates with us through Facebook. All of her kids and her grandkids that are, I think there's like 41 grandkids and great grandkids that she's constantly wanting to keep in touch with some way, somehow. Well, guess what? That's the easiest way for her to be able to do it. So this idea that technology is not being used and accessed from older demographics is the biggest misconception that's probably out there today.
I agree. I'm working with people who are probably between 60 years old and 80 years old every day. And they're so excited when I bring them in and show them how to navigate, how to log in, what's there. They just love it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it really is. This is the best part. So, this is really, I just wanted to touch on the oops, went too a little too far. So really, let's go ahead and end this, and your interactions that you also, so this live hand holding one-on-one, this again is what is unique and different to this process. I know that you regularly communicate not only with Don, but also on the next step when you send them to Jennifer for the attorney review. This is the power of the opportunity to really connect and retain these clients as they're going through this, again, this conveyor belt process that we've really perfected. You're constantly communicating with the attorney whenever they're going into that process as well. You want to touch a little bit on that, and then maybe we'll go ahead and end this this step 3.
Sure. Actually, if you want to go back to the last slide, I'll mention that when I'm training, I'm constantly reinforcing the client's routing experience as we route them through the different team members, and they receive services from each one of us along the way. I'm reinforcing that, and I'm always helping the advisor to be more successful, and with that client, and also with the new things that the advisor is going to be able to introduce to the client. So I'm talking to them about, now most of you're getting ready to meet with your attorney next. That'd be your next step. And here's what's going to happen. And along the way, I want you gathering your assets together. If you didn't get a list of assets you're supposed to be gathering together for your next advisor appointment, let me know. I'll send you a list. So I'm reinforcing those steps that the advisors are supposed to be taking and the steps that the client is going to be making along the way. I wanted to just say here, you've kind of got the list up in front of us, but it's important that I identify that every single person in the class is able to sign in. And that way I know they're going to be able to get back in at future times and use their tool. I'm also talking to them about what they have purchased so far and what is still available for them. One day recently, I was talking with a fairly young couple. They had young children in elementary and middle school, so they weren't an older couple by any means. And I mentioned, when I went over the data gathering page and how they keep that up, I said, now there are additional things that you can take advantage of when the time is right, such as the medical qualifying trust, which will start the 5-year look back clock on your house, so that if you end up in a nursing home, you've secured your house and you won't lose the house. And they perked up and they said, you mean we can do that now? And I said, well, sure. Most people don't exercise that option at your age, but you can do it anytime. And they said, my mom just lost her house that way. Let's do it now. And I said, great. I'll speak with your advisor and tell him that you want to add that on to your to your trust. Made a phone call and an email, and when they got back to their advisor's office, that product was added. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong about that. I showed them what buttons to click and how to add it themselves, and they purchased the product right then and there. And so pretty neat how we kind of all work together, but I really am an arm to your advisors, and I want to make sure that all of the clients are happy and that they understand what options they can exercise into the future, such as philanthropy. You know, we're big on philanthropy, helping our clients fulfill their philanthropic goals. And I identify to them in the client console where they can go in and add those back end bequests or allocations that will come from their estate. A lot of them haven't really made that decision at the point that they get their trust and they're new to our platform. But when I show them where they can go back in and enter it, they're very happy to see that and know where they can go.
Yeah, and then obviously this whole entire list is here, and it's pretty detailed. And I love how the first bullet point is ensuring client success signing in, because that is, I mean, it can be frustrating if you don't know how to be able to do that. And suffice it to say, Stacy, we've really perfected, the ease of being able to do that in the first place compared to when we first started.
Yes.
But give the audience an idea on the amount of time, typically speaking, that you spend during these client trainings.
Client training takes a full hour, and from the time that they sign up for that, they're getting email reminders that tells them what they're going, what to expect in training, how long it's going to last, that they need to be in front of their computer for that session. And so the expectations are set early on. Now, when I join a class, I ask if anyone still needs to log in, and I am always so pleased when I hear a class say, "Oh, I'm already logged in. I'm looking at my welcome page." And it's so exciting for me. And those who haven't been able to do that, once in a while I'll have somebody who can't, then I have a way that I can get them logged in fairly quickly so they can participate as well. The other thing I wanted to mention is I cover some things in client training that the advisors sometimes don't even know as deeply as what I cover in client training. So, our advisors, most of our advisors are encouraged early on to go ahead and take advantage and get their own trust with us. Once in a while, we have somebody come in who has a traditional trust, and they'll take some time to migrate that over into an estate plan. But we are working with advisors primarily through their training based on the relationship that they are building with their clients. So their training is focused on the client sales cycle, if you want to call it that. And when they take user training, because they now have their trust, they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know this was in here," because I haven't covered it in advisor training, because they don't need it in advisor training. For instance, the postscript page and all that has. And so it's kind of neat that I have an opportunity to spend some time with clients going over things that their advisors would probably skip over if they were in charge of training.
Yeah, and honestly, Stacy, and we'll wind this down, and that's all awesome information. And again, as far as I'm concerned, probably the most relationship building part of the process is what you do to help connect the advisor with this, client console and this tangible asset now that they really own. I think it's imperative that every one of these advisors understand just how important that the role that you play. So,
we're building relationships with our clients. We're taking them on the first steps to a journey that's going to last them the rest of their life. And we're building a relationship. They know that at the end of their phone is going to be a real person that they can get a hold of. I send them a follow-up email with a review, a recording, so they can go back and review certain steps. I send them a couple little how-to videos, and I let them know If you need help, I'm right here. You call me, you email me, I'm here. And then they know that they can do the same thing with their advisors as well. So we're just reestablishing that relationship is going to be there. That's what sets us apart. I let our clients know this is not a template driven system. This is completely customized to you and your life. And that means we're going to become friends because your life is going to change, and we're going to be here to help you adapt to that.
Well, yeah, and to that point, and I say this all the time, right? The one constant in everybody's life, now until you're not here any longer, is change.
Change. Mm-hmm.
And because of the incredible process that we have, when that change happens, not if, but when that change happens, that's why what we've addressed with this whole entire platform is managing and handling. And again, it kind of sort of goes back to things they don't tell you, traditionally speaking, right? They don't remind, hey, by the way, you're going to have a change in your life. And when you do, it's going to cost X, right? That's another reason why they don't talk about that, because they know it's going to benefit them in the long run for you to have to come back. Well, we've addressed all that. This is such a disruptive opportunity for our advisor partners through our advisor partner platform. And that's why, we talk about the 4 pillars to success, which is where the 7 steps to success are built around. That's training, that's marketing, that's mentoring, and then of course, and you just touched on it, the support that not only our advisors get, but also what the clients get. It's not like, here you go, you're in and beat it. I tell my advisors all the time, because we have talked about this a few different times already on this call, on this webinar, Stacy, about client acquisition. And that's, of course, what advisors need to grow their practice, right? But I tell them we also have the client retention piece. So be careful on the clients that you have been accustomed to just like taking everybody on, because they are going to be yours for the rest of their lives. So I don't know if you want to touch on any more of that and some of your background and your history, and I do want to touch on your background a little bit as we let everybody go here. But do you want to touch on that a little bit?
I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but I will say this, and if I don't touch on it, you can loop back around. But I am impressed, Carter, that you have provided your advisors with all the ingredients that they need for success, starting with client acquisition programs that are hard-hitting, rooms that are full. I recently heard a story about an advisor who decided to go off on his own and do his own thing, and he had maybe a great presentation, but he couldn't fill the room, and he presented to 4 people. Well, if you come and work with the program that you've built, the advisors I'm working with have the opposite problem. They're having to extend into other dates just to accommodate all the registrations. Their rooms are absolutely full and packed. I mean, you can't have a library setting with 79 people in attendance and not be doing something right. You provide that, and then you provide advisor training and client training. I think that's probably unheard of in this field. In other programs that I've been a part of, that level of training is costing the individual hundreds of dollars a month to have access to that level of training. The sad fact is a lot of advisors don't see the need to provide that training for themselves and especially for their clients. But you've provided it to your advisors, and that tells me a lot about your vision and the depth that you have for wanting success for everyone involved. You're not somebody who wants to just sell a product and move on to the next person. You're building relationships and helping your advisors build those and helping your clients to be successful in the products and services that we've rendered for them. So I just have to applaud you, because I don't see that happening across the industry.
Well, Stacy, it's a mutual feeling on this other side over here. When we brought you on to CSI Financial Group, some 6 or months ago or so now, we knew that you were going to play such a key role. We didn't know it was going to be as warmly received and beneficial for the advisor also here. But it was always with that purpose whenever I started CSI Financial Group to really create a differentiator. But I didn't want to just sort of, halfway do it, just kind of sort of throw some pieces together. It was through the discovery process that I knew all of the things that were missing, the ingredients, as you so eloquently put it, that were necessary to be successful. And it really is. It's funny because a lot of the advisors that may be listening to this right now, or maybe listening to it in the future, they may be skeptical on, yeah, I've heard it all before. But we have field tested this in multiple markets with pretty much the same type of success we're talking about. And it doesn't matter which advisor you're working with, Stacy. I'll let you finish up with that. It doesn't matter which advisor you're working with. They're all having the same type of success because of the process that we put them through. And additionally, that their clients are now engaging. So one of the things that we've added in the slide presentation is, and I think it's I don't think it's coincidence that our advisors are having more success with not only implementation but also appointment setting. We've added that slide where in the beginning, I showed where I was in the middle, and for recruiting purposes, I am in the middle with this entire team around us. But guess what? Everybody has a vested interest in the advisor that's given these presentations to be successful also. And when I added that for a couple of our advisors, it's amazing the appointment setting and engaging our services, how much that dramatically increased. Maybe it's coincidence, but I don't think it is. So, Stacy, I appreciate everything you do.
I thank you so much. I came with the background you mentioned. I came with an advocacy background, and a lot of that was legislative advocacy and advocating for people who didn't have a voice, advocating for change, fighting for the underdog a lot of the time. And what was discouraging to me in that environment is that I could work for a year or more on a project, establish change, knowing that in the next election, all of those efforts could be undone. And there seemed to be no lasting change that I could affect in that arena. And now I'm advocating for the end users. I like to say that I educate advisors so that they can do a good job with their clients, because the client is who I feel like I'm always advocating for. And now I can advocate for long-lasting change. So that's very fulfilling for me.
Yeah, and that is awesome. And, it's the team, as I look at it, over 250 years of combined experience in all these different disciplines. The team that is surrounding each one of these advisors, it really is impossible to not be successful with when they go through the process. They understand everything, and the purpose of this recording today is just for and again, it's because I've been asked to be able to put these things together, like, what is the process? And a lot of the advisors, when I first initially start talking to them, they're like, oh man, I don't know if I could ever know all that stuff. But Stacy, fair to say that they don't have to know as much as they probably think they need to know, because of the team that handles each one of these lanes, these avenues that they are specialized in. Now we're talking about the client training that you're specializing in today, but each one of our team members has exactly their specific role that eliminates the advisor having to know everything.
Correct. Our advisors come to us with specialties. and things that they have been practicing for the better part of their career. So we want to keep that intact. We don't want them to have to become estate planning specialists. All they have to know is how to hand the baton off to the next person. And not everybody's the closer in the relay race, but we want to be able to get the baton to the closer so that we can win that race with them. And so we try to just teach the advisor how to hand off the baton onto the specialists who will be creating the estate plan with their clients on behalf of them, the advisor, and not have to become a specialist there. I work very closely with our advisors all across the nation. Those who are the most successful have taken this plan and they've decided this is how I'm going to do it. The ones who are not successful, they're the ones who tell me, well, I've already bought into this other program for client acquisition or client management, and I'm going to sit back and try to dovetail these two things together. And those advisors are not producing. They're just not, or they're not engaging, and they're somewhat confusing the client in how they're routing their clients through the process. But the advisors who I'm talking to every single week, and I'm training someone from that advisor every single week all the time, are the advisors who said, you know, I've paid a lot of money for a lot of programs in the past, but I'm going to just set those aside and I'm going to use this program the way it's set up and the way it's been developed and see what happens. And those advisors never go back because they are so crazy busy seeing new clients who are coming to them. They're not having to chase down clients anymore because we have a process to keep their schedules full. And those are the advisors who are making the most with our process.
Yeah, and that of course was all by design, right? Now it wasn't like out of the box, we already knew everything. We had a fairly good idea that we were onto something, even a year ago. But it was through a lot of the trial and error that we have realized ourselves, and why we have now, it's all about the fine tuning of things, right? I'm a fairly good golfer, and when you go from a 25 handicap to a 12 handicap, that transition between 25 to 12 doesn't take you that long. 12 to 6 takes a little bit longer. But to become from a 6 handicap to a scratch golfer, that's all about fine tuning, like the little things. And that's what we've really done with this process is we've realized some of our misgivings, if you will, some of the things that we had to address. And again, one of those key components is this part of the client training that you give, Stacy. And it really is, it is without this part that was missing, that when we added it has really changed the lives of these advisors to, as you said, keep them so busy and so many clients that are coming in to talk to them. It's unheard of.
Correct. Because, I'm not just doing training, I'm doing business development. So I'm talking to our advisors every day, what kind of statistics they're generating, where they're finding ease and where they need help and what we need to streamline. Is there a gap in our process that we need to address? Is there a resource I need to create for them? And we are very hands-on that way, very hands-on. And it's just really something that I haven't seen in this industry before. The things that we're providing, if I'd had any help in the types of things that we're providing to our advisors, I would probably still be a producer. But sadly, those things were not in place. So we're constantly improving all the time.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Well, Stacy, I didn't want to have this be any longer than 35 minutes. So we're coming up on that time. Are there any last minute things that you want to share with the audience with respects in regards to the client training that maybe you haven't already?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, well, Stacy, thank you very much. This Monday after Super Bowl Sunday, 2019, I really appreciated your time today. I know that the part of this process is each one of these advisors are going to get to know you on a personal level also, which is, we are building something here, and you can't build something without relationships. It's impossible, and that's what we really pride ourselves in, is being able to build the relationships and at the same time have this common goal that we're all trying to accomplish. So with that, for Stacy Pearson, this is Carter Wilcoxon, CEO and founder, CSI Financial Group. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your week and rest of your month. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Call us at our offices anytime if you want some additional insights. We have recorded this to be able to share it for client training as well, to be able to go back on. Call us here at the office, 888-316-6040. Again, Stacy, thank you so much, and everybody have a fantastic day.
Thank you.